Old mics.
Sure, I'm sure you do.
Is it okay if I move this back?
Yeah. Thank you. Who starts?
Who wants to start it off?
Oh, Greg, coming off the game against DC United, what did you see out of that 90 minutes performance there?
Yeah, again, I think for a first preseason game, there was some good moments inside of it, some good attacks. I thought we created a good number of promising attacks, chances inside of that, some good possessions, I thought. Also, I thought some early preseason, just like some moments where we were a little careless in possession, where we lose balls in bad areas that start transitions against us, which just need to be sharper and tidier. Didn't manage one transition well, for sure. But I thought it was a good start to preseason. Again, it's the first time the guys have laced them up against somebody else and pushed through 45 minutes straight. So again, some good things out inside of that. Yeah, and a couple guys playing in untraditional positions sometimes. We push Jules higher as a winger just for the day, just to give us something different, and just some things where challenging guys in different ways. But it was a good day out, and then we had some young players who were able to join us and just get a feel for MLS competition. So we had a few under 17 players who joined us, a couple under 19 players or G2 players. So that's always a good experience for those guys in preseason, because they don't get those opportunities once things kick off sometimes.
And what was the format? Was it 3:30s?
No, we just did 2:45s. Yeah, 2:45s. Yeah.
And what's the format for Saturday?
Same. 2:45s. Yeah. So we pushed back from Friday to Saturday, and so we'll be out here. So.
Thoughts on the roster? We saw Cabral gone and Brazil move to finalize. Where are you at in terms of replacing those two pieces?
Yeah, I would say it's a work in progress. So there's multiple things and conversations that are going on with players of interest, and so we need to close out on those, which hopefully will happen here sooner rather than later. We have some other pieces that we're looking at to continue to build the depth in the roster. So there's our primary pieces where we'll probably spend the bulk of our resources, and then there's also those pieces that we want to keep building on the depth and the core of our group. So all those things are a work in progress. Many things kind of going on at once. It's coinciding, obviously, with the close of the window in Europe that's coming up here in the next week or so. So there's a lot of things that are brewing, and we hope that, like I said, in the next week or two, we start to put some names to those spots and profiles to those spots and get guys in. Chris should be in by the beginning of next week, which by the end of this week he should be here. We're ready to start training with us. Sega should be back. He's picking up his green card right now, so he should be back. Then we have some guys coming back like Johnny and those guys, but we also have Jalen Decky, those guys coming back. So next week we'll feel like more of a little bit closer to the start of a preseason, like there's a season in front of us. Right now it's been guys getting fit, getting the group a little bit together.
Greg, what are your expectations this year for Johnny Perez and Efra?
Yeah, I'll start with Johnny. I'd like for him to become a contributor on the first team. Love his talent. He's dynamic. He's got a lot of things to offer us. The unfortunate part for Johnny is he probably would have played some role in our second half of our season, but with the injury after the Chivas game, soon after the Chivas game, I felt like he missed a good chunk of the tail part of the season. So, but we love what he can do. He'll be in our rotation probably as those guys that can play off the wing and can do things. But I really like his game, and look forward to him taking a step forward. For Efra, for me, it's another step year for Efra to try to take on more responsibility in our group, to become a 90-minute player, to become a guy who impacts the game more consistently. Those are in the simple moments in the game, but also the big moments, because he's a guy who can change a game. So, for him, it's doing things a little bit quicker, a little bit sharper, finding his little windows to create more opportunities for others and to see where he can finish, but also to put in the work for us either on the midfield or wide that he's capable of doing. But he's such a good soccer player. It's about him now being able to deliver that week in and week out and for 90 minutes a game, you know, and so we keep working towards that and maturing as a player.
Greg, one thing, maybe you don't like talking about this, but just what it's on social media about the supporters group, you know, what they're asking, are you guys worried that you guys won't have their support in the Rose Bowl game?
No, I hope and trust that through communication we can come to a good resolution for everybody, and we can get back on the same page. We all want the same thing. There's no question about it. What we all want is to lift trophies, to win championships, to get back to the top of the league. That's what everybody wants when you sit down and you talk about the net result at the end of the day. So I believe we can get to a position where we're all working towards that end, and we're working together and supporting each other on that.
Were you surprised when you saw that they were united, asking for one specific thing to the front office?
Was I surprised?
Yeah, surprised to see all.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think like all things, there's a unification to a certain degree, and then there's not a unification. None of us speak for everybody. We speak for people who we speak for, and we don't speak for others that we don't speak for. So, but I think what they're interested in, again, at the end of the day, is they want to lift trophies. They want to be the best. They want to be able to rock around the city and hold their heads up high and be proud and be better than the guys across the street, right? So we all want the same thing. And I think that when you really get down to it at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants. So how we get there is for us to be better at communicating what we're doing, and for them to trust us, in that process. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
Great. Is there any added pressure for the LA Galaxy to perform? I know the LA Galaxy is the winningest team in MLS, but now that LAFC has won a championship, is there any added pressure because of that?
I don't think so. I mean, the added pressure comes from the expectation internally and from our fans that we're the best club in MLS. That's the expectation. Regardless of whether it's LAFC or San Jose or anyone else, it doesn't matter. If we're not lifting trophies and competing for them at the end of the year, we're all disappointed. So that's the expectation. So the fact that they won, maybe some people internally feel like that's something, but to me, it doesn't matter if it's LAFC or anyone. It's our job to be the best in the league. We had set that standard from the start, and that's where we need to be, and that's what we're working towards, regardless of what's happening anywhere else.
Ahead of the Rose Bowl game, how special will it be for the LA Galaxy to go back to where it all began?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. Obviously, as a 96 guy and someone who played the first 6 years of my career in that stadium and in front of the fans that were there. It's a place that's near and dear to me, and so I think to bring our guys back, to take our fans back to kind of where it all started, to get a season off in a big way, and what's going to be in front of a big crowd, I think it's amazing. One thing it also gives us for our guys as we prepare for a season, it's a big game right off the start, and it's going to be a highly anticipated game with, like I said, with a big crowd. I think that's exciting for our guys as we work through preseason, because it gives you something a little bit special that you're preparing for right off the bat. Sometimes you slow roll into seasons. This is like, no, you're after it right off the bat. So I like that. I think it brings focus and intention right off the bat to our group.
Are you planning any parking lot practices ahead of that game, just to bring back some memories?
Oh man, those days where we used to get together and walk the field and pick up the glass and put it in bags to make sure. I slipped on a manhole cover once. Let's see, we could get into lots of stories there, but we're all better for it. We were tough. We didn't. It didn't all have to be perfect all the time. We dealt with whatever we had to deal with, and somehow still managed to win games. So those are special days, right? The league was built off of those days in many ways. So we're excited. We're excited to be back. It's a special place for sure.
Thank you.
Where does Preston Judge fit into the mix?
Preston is. We like Press. He's such a unique forward. His physicality, his strength. He's the type of forward who beats up center backs, and center backs hate that. He's got an edge to him. He's strong. So he's different than our other two forwards. So I think he's a guy that's going to see opportunity. We like his growth. He's proven that he can score goals. I think he needs to continue to grow in his ability to connect with the rest of the guys on the field sometimes, but what he can do, not many guys can do, because it just has it's just a different profile of striker. So we're looking forward to getting him running, and I think he's going to be able to prove this year that with all of the games that we have so many games. I mean, you lace it up, you're almost at 50 games. If you're doing pretty well in any of these competitions, you're almost to 48 to 50 games or 45 to 50. We're going to need guys who can step in scoring goals. You never have too many guys who can score goals. So, and he does it a little bit different than the other two, which is interesting for us.
And then Gino, did he get on the field?
He didn't. He didn't. He had a little setback with a foot injury, so we are working him back. He had X-ray negative, still a little sore. Had MRI yesterday. We're waiting to see if anything comes of that. So we're hoping that that's negative, and we can have a plan to work him back into things. But he's kind of been on the outside for probably about a week to a week and a half now. Unfortunately for him, because he got off to a good start, and now he's just having to reset a little bit.
Adam Saldana, he's back into the mix.
Adam's back. His first training session, I think, was like Thursday of last week. He played about 25 minutes in the game this weekend. So for Adam, he's healthy now, and so it's about getting fitness, sharpness, like everybody. I think getting confident again on turning and all the different movements that you have to after you have an injury like that, and then the follow-up surgery this time was just to get the hardware out of there, but getting confidence in all of the movements that he needs in all of those situations. So, but we look forward to him now, hopefully putting all of that behind him and being able to really move forward.
Anything else?
That's it.
Thanks, Greg.
All
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I got one.
Have a nice day, guys.